Ahoy everyone, and welcome to Crusader Kings 3 Dev Diary number 1. Now, I'm just going to preface this with my own personal thoughts going into Crusader Kings 3 before we dive into the Dev Diary, just because a lot of people have been asking me, and the way I've been phrasing it is I am cautiously optimistic about Crusader Kings 3. Optimistic because I'm a huge CK2 fan, and I think that Crusader Kings 3 has potential to be something really amazing, and cautious because I've been around for the last few PDX releases, including extensive pre-release playtime on Imperator. And, well, yeah, if you guys have played Imperator, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So, no need to delve into that. So, without further ado, let's dive into the Dev Diary and see what is in store. Greetings, and welcome to the first CK3 feature Dev Diary. As this is the first Dev Diary, we want it to be extra juicy and showcase something that we're excited about, namely what we're doing with the Dynasties. Dynasties are immaterial, yet fundamentally important things that make Crusader Kings what it is. Your line must follow an unbroken line of members from your dynasty. If your dynasty ends, so does your game. Now, the representation of dynasties in CK2 was limited. A character belonged to a dynasty, and that was that. You got a minor opinion boost with characters that were of the same one, and nothing more. In CK3, we really want to emphasize the power of that dynasty, plural, I think that might just be a localization issue there, and their impact on the medieval world. We want you as the player to feel a bond with your dynasty and care about it. To achieve this, we've done a multitude of things. Firstly, something that we know will especially please CK2 players, we've redefined what a dynasty actually is. Not a monolithic entity, but a collection of houses. No longer will dynasties have just one name, one coat of arms, and one identity. Instead, several houses, aka cadet branches, will be collected under the umbrella that is the dynasty, working together, theoretically, towards bringing renown upon the dynasty. So what is a house? Each dynasty will have a founding house, usually the same name as the dynasty, which is the first house of that dynasty. As the game progresses, ruling dynasty members that are distant by blood to the current house head, more on that below, may choose to create a cadet branch, so distant family members, effectively creating a new house under the dynasty. Creating a cadet branch makes the character creating it its house head, with the most powerful house head becoming Dynast, which I don't know if they've mentioned yet, but that is like the head of the dynasty. And by extension, free from all direct influence of their old house head. Making your cadet branch requires quite a bit of prestige that you do not stand to inherit your house head's title, so you can't be like his direct heir or in the line at all, pretty much directly, and that all of your dynastic ancestors are dead. Your father can't be alive, for example. So, just the people that came before you. Cadet branches / houses come with a lot of flavor. Their own names, their own coat of arms, and mottos, usually inspired by the location in which they are founded and the founding character. For example, if a ruler of the Jemena dynasty would create a cadet branch in southern France, they might be called the Toulouse Jemenas, and so on. Now, what is a house head or a dynast? Oh, okay, so here we go. They mentioned the house heads and the dynast before they've explained what they are, but here we go. Within a house, there is always a leader, a house head, that wields power. I always want to say head house. That wields power over the rest of the members. A house head has the power to legitimize bastards, call house members to war, and demand that they adhere to their faith. Refusal to convert will result in them creating a new cadet branch. Some heretic cadet branches, that sounds delightful. The house head also has inherent leverage on all house members born after they were made head by virtue of getting a hook on them, or on hooks in another DD. So we're going to figure out what hooks are later. I have no idea what that means. They also gain passive prestige based on the number of members in their house. House leadership follows the succession of the house head, so that if you're the leader of your house, you will most likely keep that title on succession. The dynast, on the other hand, wields significantly more power than a house head. Oh, interesting. So the dynast and the house head are not just synonyms, they really are different. With their power encompassing the members of all houses of the entire dynasty. Oh, right. Now I'm picking up what you're putting down. The house head is the head of could be the head of the cadet houses, and the dynast is the head of everybody. The Dynast is always the most powerful house head of a dynasty, with leadership being updated on the death of the old Dynast. In addition to everything the house head can do, the Dynast can also disinherit / restore inheritances, denounce / forgive members of the dynasty, which affects opinion in a major way, personally claim titles held by Dynast members, and make dynasty... I'm mixing up Dynast and Dynasty now, and make dynasty members end wars they have against each other. Very interesting. A lot of power there. All of these powers work against every member of the dynasty, not just the house they're part of, so all the cadet branches too. The Dynast also holds prestige for every living member of the dynasty. Being the Dynast is very powerful indeed, but you have to carefully weigh the powers against other benefits as they cost renown. So let's get into what renown is now. Renown is a resource accumulated by a dynasty and is used for several things. Firstly, all renown earned by a dynasty counts towards its level of splendor. Okay, splendor's coming into this. That's something we've been using in EU4. The level of splendor is the outward perception of the dynasty. Okay, that makes perfect sense. How well it is perceived in the eyes of the world and affects the prestige you get on birth, the prestige when marrying into, and the maximum long reign opinion you can get. Very interesting mechanics there. Having a high level also makes it much easier to arrange marriages, especially with dynasties below your level. Regardless of its renown, if its renown is spent or not, the level of splendor won't decrease. The higher your dynasty's level of splendor, the more impressive its coat of arms frame will look. Okay, so there is a physical representation of that as well. Peasant dynasties will start at a negative splendor level, which means you'll actually lose prestige for marrying into them. Makes perfect sense. Like what I'm reading there. Renown itself is a spendable currency representing the clout your dynasty holds over itself. Its use is twofold. Firstly, it can be used for the most powerful dynasty member interactions, getting claims and disinheriting titles and such. Secondly, for unlocking dynasty legacies, and more on that below as well. So we're going to figure out what dynasty... There's a lot of info in here. The way you get renown encourages you to mimic a playstyle that is common in reality, but wasn't very practical in CK2. Spreading your dynasty far and wide. You will gain renown for every ruler of your dynasty that isn't a subject under another member of your dynasty. This is based on tier, which means that a king will give more renown than a duke, and so on. Marrying in such a way that your dynasty ends up on thrones of foreign realms is therefore useful for other reasons other than to just murder them until you inherit their lands. Having your dynasty spread out will give you more renown and thus a more powerful dynasty overall. For example, if you're playing as the King of England, you will not gain renown for your landed vassal brother, but you will gain renown for your dynastic cousin ruling a duchy in the Holy Roman Empire. You will also gain renown for marrying away your dynasty to be spouses of a powerful ruler, symbolizing your newfound influence in their realm. This gives you a reason to carefully plan the marriages of your kinsmen, even if you are not in need of an alliance. Now let's move on to dynasty legacies. So what is a dynasty legacy? We all know that the playing field in Crusader Kings is a very volatile one. You might be Emperor of the World as one character, while being reduced to a Count of Norfolk in the next. Dynasty legacies offer some permanence in otherwise very wild world in the form of modifiers and unlocks that affect every member of the dynasty. That's pretty cool. Essentially, by using renown, you get to shape what your dynasty is known for. There's a myriad of legacies to choose from, all divided into tracks, which are appropriately thematically named, such as kin, guile, or blood. These aim to represent notions that the world has or had about certain dynasties, i.e. the Seljuks, or warriors, the Abbasids, lawmakers, the Habsburgs, diplomats, and prone to marrying their own kin, etc. Each legacy track contains 5 unlocks, each costing a progressively higher amount of renown to unlock. And we got a beautiful picture here to look. In this dev diary, we will go into detail on one of these tracks, the blood track, which also happens to be my favorite. Not me, Benjamin, but the writer of the dev diary. The track is designed for those who enjoy breeding traits into your family line, with a few unlocks, all focusing on increasing the chance of inheritance, emergence, and reinforcement of genetic traits. That sounds amazing. The last few unlocks will reduce the chance of negative traits appearing, essentially allowing for more risky marriages. Read into that as you will. I'm definitely not doing a full Zoroastrian run on CK2 right now. Giving you the chance to choose a genetic trait to be more common among your kin, i.e. beauty, intelligence, or strong, but also giant or dwarf. No matter how much I pleaded with art, I couldn't get a Habsburg chin trait, though. Oh, are you... Really? It's honestly really hoping for a Habsburg trait in the game. And finally, rounding off with an increase to your dynasty members' life expectancy, which increases both their average age and average fertility. This even means that women of your dynasty may remain able to bear children for longer. Oh, there's no hard cutoff then. It's more of a fluid thing. Legacies take a long time to unlock, and you will have to work hard towards unlocking even one full track, though their power more than makes up for the wait. Legacies are chosen and unlocked by the dynast, so make sure you're in control of your own dynasty. I do want to take a look at the Dynasty Legacies page that we have been presented with so far. You can see that right now we have Warfare, Law, Guile, Blood. Is that Erudition? I thought that said tradition for a second. I'm looking at a smaller image on the Dev Diary right now rather than the blown up one that's on the screen at the moment. Glory and kin. Also some beautiful traditional CK2 artwork to go with it. That's one thing I'm kind of happy about, is seeing some of this artwork. I know it might seem like some sort of a lame thing to get pissy about, but in some of the things we've seen from CK3 so far, I physically didn't like the look of the game. I really like the aesthetic style of CK2. I like the way the map looks. I like the 2D character portraits. So it is nice to see that while they are bringing in some new visuals, there is some very standard CK2 style artwork in here. I'm very happy to see that. Also, this Dynasty Legacy thing sounds amazing. Absolutely amazing. I'm so happy with the expanded possibility that is coming with Dynasties. So that's the whole Dev Diary for Dev Diary number 1 for CK3. Quick recap there. Some of the things that I saw that I really liked. There's nothing in there that I saw that I disliked per se. Because all the original Dynasty stuff from CK2 is in here still, which is pretty minute in terms of what a Dynasty is, but expanded upon greatly, and that's what I'm looking for in CK3. I want to see stuff that's in CK2 expanded out. I don't want to see things taken out of CK2 and then sold back to us later. That's something I'm really nervous about, is that that prospect of hacking out bits that we've already paid for CK2 and then reselling them as a DLC for CK3. But this right here is obviously a greatly expanded mechanic for handling your dynasty in the game. Gist of it, from what I can gather right here, is that you have your dynasty. The dynasty can have minor houses. There is someone, the most powerful house head gets to be the head of the dynasty, and then as the head of the dynasty, you get some very powerful actions that you have access to. And one of the things that they mentioned in there that I like as well is that having landed titles in your dynasty is good, and it helps out your dynasty, but it's also good to throw a wide net now, rather than just keep everything condensed and coalesced together into one little bundle. It's a very positive thing to marry your family into other realms, which I like, because the marriage game, some people play in CK2, but it's also very easy to ignore and kind of just murder everybody until a house is extinct and kind of falls to whatever next house is there. I really like the expanded potential for deep generation-long intrigue. That's something I've always been a huge fan of in CK2. But I'm just kind of rambling now about the things I like. You've seen it all from in this Dev Diary so far. You can read it yourself. I'll make sure, if you want to, I'll make sure that the link is in the description below so you can find it easily. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If I'm being a little too easily swayed by fancy words, you let me know. Keep me in check. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you next time.